Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, my name is Gaming Byrd. Let's talk about Warhammer 40,000, the miniatures game for a bit, shall we? So, what is Warhammer 40,000? It's a science fiction universe set in the 41st millennium. Warfare is actually a constant way of life for humanity, and it's actually on the brink of annihilation despite numerous technological advances in medicine, weaponry, and space exploration. The known galaxy was conquered when humanity was led by a figure calling himself the Emperor of Mankind, using genetically enhanced super soldiers known as Space Marines. These Space Marines were a legion strong, that's actually 10,000 in number. Each of them were led by a Primarch that had equal power to the Emperor himself. Before the Emperor's plans could actually come to fruition entirely, the ruinous gods of chaos intervened and scattered the Primarchs throughout the galaxy while in their infancy. The Emperor took the legions he made along with the forces on Terra, what we know as Earth, to find the Primarchs. Eventually, the Emperor did reunite the Primarchs with his legion and united the galaxy under what's known as the Imperial Truth. The Emperor actually didn't want to be revered as a god despite having unbelievable power and charisma. He believed that no one should worship any deity. He was even punishable by death if he did so. The reason for this was to actually stop the influence of chaos from spreading throughout humanity under the pretense of a deity. He understood the real threat actually came from chaos itself, something that can't be killed with bullets alone, but by stopping their influence and to spread and grow stronger with the beliefs in humans. During the conquest of the galaxy, the Emperor went back to Terra to build what's known as the Golden Throne. It's a device that could allow humanity to travel the galaxy without the need of the warp. Basically what the warp is think of it as hell in the galaxy. Travel at that time, which is still actually done even in the 41st millennium, was discovered that by traveling through the warp, you can accelerate your ship as fast as light speed. However, the danger of doing this was that you're literally traveling through a demonic infestation in order to do it. The Golden Throne was actually going to use his psionic essence to make what's known as a webway instead. It's the same technology an alien race known as the Eldar used to travel the galaxy when they had actually conquered the galaxy initially. The Emperor actually left his trusted Primarch Horus in command of the Crusades to conquer the North Empire during this time. Horus was actually celebrated by the Emperor as his most favorite Primarch, often fighting beside him in countless battles. He was even called a son by the Emperor himself, showing devotion and loyalty to the Emperor. So much was the Emperor's love for Horus that he even decreed that Horus's words were his own, and that he would be given full command of all the legions. When the Emperor left, Horus felt very uneasy about him leaving. Jealousy and resentment soon followed when the Emperor left, but he continued to do his duty to his father. 40 years before the Horus heresy would happen, the Emperor was actually furious when he found out that one of his legions, the Word-Bearers, were worshipping the Emperor as a god. Psionically, he actually forced the legion to kneel and renounce that notion, and was actually given heavy reprimands for this penance. This left the Primarch of the Word-Bearers, Lorgar, to find a new calling. He found it in what was known as the Pilgrimage of Lorgar, or simply him going to the Eye of Terror, which is basically the center of hell, and finding that the Chaos Gods were actually the chosen ones to lead humanity into a prosperous future. Lorgar started to then hatch up a scheme to convert humanity to the Dark Gods. He actually started off with Horus by having him stabbed with a blade from Nurgle that was incurable. His trusted chaplain Erebus suggested that Horus could actually be healed at his secret sect in Davin to use sorcery to heal his wounds. In truth, this secret sect was actually a chaos cult that would use the same sorcery to taint Horus's thoughts and exploit his jealousy with the Emperor. The gods of chaos actually showed him a vision of the future, which is where the Primarch and the Emperor were revealed as gods, and Horus was not among them. Ironically, this was actually a true vision, but it only would happen if Horus actually did what the Chaos Gods asked. Although the Chaos Gods never actually told him that, they just said that this is what was going to happen. Horus actually accepted the Gods of Chaos and actually began to unite half the Space Marine legions against the Emperor. There's actually several stories of betrayal and deception that led to the other legions actually falling to chaos as well, but that's actually something for you to read yourself. Eventually, Horus was actually successful in reaching Terra itself and bombarding the Imperial Palace. The Emperor teleported himself onto Horus's flagship to confront him one-on-one. When Horus actually fell to the Emperor, Horus finally realized what he did was wrong and asked his father for forgiveness. The Emperor knew that the demons of chaos would try to actually make him a demon prince if he let his soul live. To actually spare his son from his fate, he used a psionic lance to shatter Horus's very soul out of existence. The shockwave sent all the demons back into the warp and the Traitor Legion scattering. Unfortunately, the damage was already done. The Emperor's last wishes were to be placed on the Golden Throne to have his essence maintained. This maintenance came at a heavy price at 1,000 psychics every single day. The Imperial truth the Emperor fought so hard to put into place to preserve it would actually be twisted where the Emperor would be revered as a god, with its roots beginning by the same book Lorgar wrote just before the Horus Heresy. Xenophobia, political repression, the many oppressed by the few, technological regression, all of these things that the Emperor fought to prevent were now the norm in the 41st millennium. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the world of Warhammer 40,000.